Hello guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming at you guys looking aggressively 90s today between the hair with pins and the really dark eyeshadow and the very light nude lip. Today I want to get some people pressed. I rounded up a bunch of products that I feel like I have a really unpopular opinion about, whether it's I really like this product and everyone else in the beauty world seems to just despise it, and then a few products that everyone seems to love that I just personally don't love for myself. So I personally always love watching these types of videos just because I love seeing what people think about certain products that I might like that they might despise, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that because that's my opinion! So yeah, I have a list here because this is the only semblance of organization in my life at the moment. I hope you guys enjoy it and let's get right into it. My first unpopular opinion is probably the one that I will defend till the day that I die, and I freaking love the Anastasia subculture palette. Fight me.
No.
I actually think it's kind of funny because I bought this palette after all the reviews came out of it. It was like the middle of summer 2017, I want to say, and everyone was just like hating on this one palette here, and if you said that you liked the palette, you were automatically kissing Anastasia's butt. And little me with my brand new YouTube channel that kind of sucked. Please don't go back and watch those videos. That's no. And over time, this has become like one of my favorite colorful palettes. The color scheme, first of all, is just revolutionary. And the eyeshadows in here are ridiculously pigmented to a point where they are slightly harder to work with. But I feel like the result you can get with these is just so beautiful. There's nothing this richly colorful and deep. But besides that, I think this palette just gets a really bad rap. But when I really want some good grungy shades to feed my dark soul, this is just like the best. This one is a newer release and I'm kind of shocked that I love this one as much as I did, especially because everyone who has remotely the same skin type as me has been hating this, but I kind of love the Hourglass Vanish foundation right now. And I also have a kind of unpopular opinion about the stick version of this one. I don't actually like the stick that much. It just doesn't work for my skin type. I was almost like 80% positive that I was going to end up returning this one just because I heard a lot of bad things about it. Mostly that it was even drier than the stick foundation. This is definitely extremely full coverage and it does take a bit of a learning curve, especially if you are someone who goes in with like 2 to 3 pumps of foundation, which I normally go in with 1.5 pumps. And even that, I wore this one the first time with 1 pump and it looked hideous. You truly only need about half a pump at the most. Sometimes I don't even end up using that, or I'll use the full half pump, but I'll bring it down onto my neck as well. It is definitely very pigmented. You do not need a ton of product, and because there's so much pigment concentrated into such a small amount, I feel like you can get really nice full coverage with a very thin layer, and as a result, it doesn't look disgusting throughout the day. So I really feel like a lot of the bad reputation for this one has come from people who use a little bit too much, or just like use a normal amount of foundation for other foundations, but for this formula it just happens to be too much. So I kind of love this a lot. Next up is a product that everyone seems to really enjoy, but I just haven't had the best of luck with and I haven't loved, and that's Wet n Wild eyeshadows. I kind of have this love-hate relationship with Wet n Wild where I like a certain few of their products, but everything else trash. They're definitely one of the more hyped up drugstore brands, and that's probably because they're the dirt cheapest. A lot of the products that people seem to really like from them, I just don't love. So the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation smells like paint to me and it looks so bad on my skin. But the Wet n Wild eyeshadows I think are really interesting. But I wouldn't pay more than $6 for those eyeshadows. I don't think that they're amazing quality. I think they're fine for the drugstore, but there's definitely better affordable eyeshadows you can get out there. I also tried some of their new palettes that kind of dupe certain things. So I tried the Modern Renaissance dupe, and I didn't like it. They looked very nice when you swatched them, but I felt like they just were really patchy and not fun to work with. You had to really build them up on the eyes to get to like even a semblance of color payoff that the Modern Renaissance would have. Personally for me, Wet n Wild eyeshadows are way overhyped and overrated. My next product is also from Anastasia, and this is one that I feel like it's not so much that people hate it, but most people don't really talk about it ever. And also a lot of reviews I've seen of this one have said that it's too glittery to use. But this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dream Glow Kit. Probably the most underrated and underloved glow kit that she's come out with. And this came out last year. She hasn't done a glow kit since. I feel like I didn't really see anyone talking about this, mostly because it is very out there with the colors. They are definitely colorful highlighters, but they're so unique. I'm just gonna swatch one so you can see, but they have this beautiful super iridescent duochrome flip, but I think it's a really interesting effect that you can't really replicate in a lot of other products. The catch though is that they are very glittery, and they're not like trying to pretend that they're not. I think they definitely are super glittery and they kind of own that. And a lot of people really hate glitter highlighters, me included, but this isn't meant to look natural. And these are such a like unique, different finish of duochrome highlighter that I really don't mind the glittery finish. So personally, I love this. I don't think I've seen anybody who stans Kylie Cosmetics liquid lips as much as Michaela Long.
Bitch, you know we're using full Kylie. It's lit.
but I'm probably in like a close second. I don't really think I've seen anyone talking positively about Kylie Cosmetics matte liquid lip kits. They definitely are matte. Wow. They dry down to a nice true matte finish. And honestly, with the lip balm underneath these, they're very comfortable. The color selection she offers is beautiful. I think the color selection she offers is beautiful. I love pretty much all her lip products, honestly. One of my favorite glosses right now is actually the Kylie Jordan lip gloss called Partners in Crime. Oh no! Her lip liners are great too. They're very similar to Colourpop though, so I would say those aren't necessarily worth the price if you could just get Colourpop. But this formula I feel like is actually not the same as Colourpop's, and these are beautiful. I love them. The colors are amazing. I really want Kylie to put Michaela Long on her pair list first, but also me. Thanks. Here's one that I feel like might piss people off. The Stila Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadows. I used to love these, I swear I did, but now I despise these. That is the dumbest sentence that I've ever said in my life. Here's the thing. They're beautiful for the first like 2 or 3 months that you have them, and then they slowly start to dry up. So this one is Kitten Karma. It's completely dried out now to a point where it's not even liquid eyeshadow anymore, and as a result it's a flaky, crusty mess. I really wish these would have a little bit more longevity because they are so expensive. They're $24 each, and that's just too much to pay. They're beautiful. They're one of the most user-friendly glitters to use, and honestly, these kind of revolutionize the glitter game. And I don't think I'm gonna buy another one of these, even though the Shade Mysteria ones are kind of calling my name. The fact that they just are so inconsistent and they dry out really easily and they're just so frustrating. I remember the days when anyone who talked negatively about anything Fenty would get just reamed in the comments. Thankfully, people seem to be a little bit more human about it now, be a little bit more understanding of the fact that not everything is going to work for everybody. But I remember a time when anybody who like gave somewhat negative review to the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter would just get destroyed. Honestly, I really used to love this foundation. This is extremely matte. I'm in the shade 140. It's called a soft matte longwear foundation, but I don't think it's soft matte. I think it's just matte. Very, very matte. It's going to be great for someone who has oily skin, but for me, especially because my skin has gotten a lot drier, aggressively dry. As a result, I just can't wear this one on its own anymore. It's a beautiful mixing foundation, so if I find something that's a little bit too dewy, or if I want to make something a bit more long wearing, or just like make it a little bit paler, I'll mix this one in, and it just mixes beautifully with pretty much every different formula. So I love this one as a mixer foundation, but I can't use this one on its own just because it's too drying and too matte. But the shade range is amazing, and of course this just changed the game. So I love this foundation, but not on my skin. Yes! The Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This is a palette that has made me realize that the people who watch my channel are just awesome, because I've talked about how I don't love this one so many times, and most people really love this palette. I've kind of just like shat on that palette, and I'm honestly just like always shocked and so happy about how people are really respectful of the fact that I don't have the same opinion as many people on that palette, and still it's okay because we all have different preferences. Personally, for me, Born to Run, I felt like the mattes and shimmers were just kind of muted. It wasn't the beautiful like colorful palette that I was expecting from them, and it was just kind of like But I fully appreciate and understand that it's going to be amazing for somebody who likes milder colors and just doesn't like super punchy shades or can't wear them to work. I think it's a beautiful, like kind of more neutral, easier take on colorful shades, and I think that's awesome. So that palette is not my favorite, and I don't think I will ever attempt to use it again. But yeah, I have an unpopular opinion about that palette, and thankfully people seem to be very nice about that. Hey guys, Editing Julie here. I have an unpopular opinion right now, and it's what the hell is going on with my hair in this video? I'm sorry. Here's one that I feel like I've seen people really not love, but I personally really like this one. The e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. I feel like I've seen a lot of both negative reviews and just kind of like meh reviews, but I love this foundation. It does have quite this like potent baby powder scent to it where I feel like it's just very... and it is very thickums, so after it sets in, I think it has this very nice velvety finish to the skin. It definitely covers a lot. It's very affordable, $6. I believe they've extended the shade range of this one. It also has SPF 15, which I didn't really know that before I read it on the back of this bottle right now. But this is actually one of my favorite drugstore foundations. I feel like if you want something that's like nice and velvety smooth, Isn't super matte, but isn't dewy either. It's kind of this nice natural skin finish. I think e.l.f. does a really, really good job with complexion products. For about like a 2-year stretch in the beauty world, I think Becca highlighters were just kind of the cool girl product that everyone owned and loved. Mostly people were talking about either Champagne Pop or Opal, which I owned Champagne Pop, but I no longer do because it was too dark for me. And then I own Opal in this Eyelights palette here, which has pretty much all the different popular shades of Becca highlighters. But honestly, I think Becca highlighters, they're nice. They're really, really good highlighters, but they're not the best formula in the world. First of all, they're very fragile. So I originally dropped, I want to say it was Pearl on the ground, on carpet. It wasn't even like a hard ground, it was carpet, and it was gone. It was shattered. It just yeeted itself straight out of the world. So rest in peace, Becca. But they're very, very fragile highlighters, and they're $38. So the soft texture of them makes them very breakable, but also makes them very nice and buttery on the skin. So they do like melt into the face and give this beautiful glow. They're good highlighters, but they're not the world's best highlighters by any means. I think they're good, but I don't think they're $38 good, and I don't think they're as good as everyone thinks they are. Okay, Kat Von Diphtheria. Besides her brow pomade, which is kind of fire, I think a lot of her products were just really not for me. I liked the whole aesthetic of her brand, but I felt like a lot of her things were just really thick and very drying. The number one thing that I think was probably one of the worst foundations I've ever tried was her Lock-It foundation. I feel like Lock-It was always talked about by really pale people because she had a really good selection of shades for very, very fair skin tones. So as somebody who is very, very pale, I'm half white and half Asian, I thought it would be a great idea to test out her Lock-It foundation. So naturally, I decided to buy a full size, and it was the worst. It was so dry to a point that it actually cracked. And this was when my skin was a little bit oilier than it is now, so even then it was just too dry for me. It is definitely one of the most full coverage foundations, but it's just so nasty, honestly, on the skin. I don't like it at all.
Thank you, next bitch.
Next, I wanted to talk about Dewy bronzers because, listen, dewy skin is my favorite thing. I love dewy primers. I love dewy foundations. I'm wearing the Too Faced Born This Way right now. I love dewy setting powders. I love dewy setting sprays. I love not setting my face so I look even more dewy. I love looking almost aggressively oily at the end of the day. But dewy bronzers are the work of the devil. The only slightly dewy or luminous bronzer I've ever liked has been from Hourglass. It's the Luminous Bronze Light, and this has just enough shimmer in it where I feel like it looks alive and beautiful and slightly luminescent on the skin, but not too much shimmer where it looks like you're wearing highlighter that's on the depths of your cheekbones. But all the slightly luminous or dewy bronzers, or God forbid baked bronzers I've tried out, I just haven't enjoyed. I want to talk about the Ofra Everglow. I remember specifically when this came out, Naked Tutorials was saying that because there are 3 shades in here, not every shade is going to work on different skin tones, but on people who are fairer, you could use this one as a glowy bronzer. It's copper, but Nikki is my heart and soul, so I decided to try it out as a bronzer.
Girl, look how orange you look, girl.
I mean, if you'd like to look like the Statue of Liberty circa 1800s, sure, but I don't. I feel like dewy bronzers just never look natural on me. Like, I love them in theory, but they're just not right for my skin. And the final product that I have an unpopular opinion about is from Mercier. This is the Translucent Glow Setting Powder, and when this came out, a lot of people hated it and were just like, burn it in a fire. I feel like this is a very misunderstood powder. Again, I really, really love dewy skin, and this has a bit of a learning curve to it. So the first time I tried this one out, it looked like ass on my face. It's kind of like a very soft, loose highlighter, so if you pile it on, or if you don't use a light enough hand, it's gonna look like a highlighter all over your face. It looks kind of funky dunky, but over time I've just gotten really accustomed to going in with a very, very light hand, and I actually use a separate powder brush, so I'll use a different powder brush for my entire face, and then I'll go in with a specific brush for this one and just go with a very, very light hand. I start on the cheekbones and get most of the product off there, and then I go in with whatever's left on the rest of the face, and it's beautiful. So I love this one. It doesn't really do anything for oil control, but I wasn't expecting it to. Definitely not for like baking or anything like that. I personally really enjoyed this. All right, I'm done being controversial for the day. That was my unpopular makeup opinions. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I've had a lot of requests to do it. Have I? Yeah, I don't know. But I hope this video was somewhat entertaining. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below and let me know if you have the same opinion or different opinions about any of these products, because I love hearing from you guys. And I'd love to know if you have any things that I love that you hate. But also make sure you are subscribed to the channel down below. Follow me on Instagram at JuliaCMazzucato to see makeup looks like this, posted semi-regularly. And if you made it to the very end of this video, you get the bonus meme. Gang gang. I love you almost as much as I love dewy skin. Bye. Just kidding, I love you more than dewy skin.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, you can get a taste. Miami, you can get a taste. Oakland, you can get a taste.